Hello, alternate soldiers. It is Anime Alternates here, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I am really impressed by the 20 likes and over 200 views I got on one of my videos, and so I'm doing part 4 to What If Naruto Was a Full Uzumaki. This is actually more like 2 videos, but I'm doing like 1 because I was really thankful and really impressed by how well one of my videos did. So thank you guys, and keep up the good work, and without further ado, roll the intro. Neji walked into the arena looking cocky. He looked up into the stands and was surprised at what he saw. Hiyashi and Hanabi Hyuga were standing up there. Hinata looked at Naruto, who nodded, and then she stepped into the ring. They both got into their Hyuga stances, and Neji started pointing out Hinata's flaws. Hinata didn't listen to any of the insults. Instead, she charged forward and started striking at Neji, who blocked most of these attacks, but a couple of them found their mark. Neji then went on the offensive, pulling off most of his 64 palms attack on Hinata. What Neji didn't realize was that as he was attacking Hinata, she had managed to hit just one of his tenketsu with lightning-enhanced chakra. Naruto noticed this and smiled, knowing that this match would be a tie. Hanabi asked Naruto what was funny, and Naruto replied with a smile. This match is going to be a tie. Neji could hit Hinata with the 64 palms as much as he wants to, and he still won't win. I'll explain it to you after you see what it's done. Neji then said this match was over, aiming for her heart. Instead of the joining catching this, Hinata caught it, saying, "You shouldn't be overconfident, cousin, and however weak you think I am a lot stronger than that." She then fell to her knees. Neji was looking down at her with disdain. The proctor was about to call the match when Neji coughed up blood and fell to his knees. He clutched his stomach. "What'd you do to me?" he demanded. "Lasting palm strike," Hinata said before passing out. Neji then spat a little more blood and then collapsed. "This is a double knockout," the proctor called. Minato took away the 2 Hyugas. Hiyashi looked pleased and then turned to regret. "So what does it do?" Hanabi asked again. "Well, it's derived from body pathway derangement. The body pathway derangement works by utilizing lightning-style chakra to rearrange the nervous system signals, sending them all over the place. With a lasting palm strike, she strikes one of the tenketsu with lightning-style chakra. This electricity then travels through the nervous system to all the tenketsu. The downside is that it's still imperfect, so when she uses it, she has to force out a ton of chakra. This restarts her chakra system, rendering her unable to use ninjutsu, genjutsu, and the gentle fist. We agreed she wouldn't use it unless she was already going to lose, so when Neji landed the 64 palms, she must have thought she was going to lose and use it to take Neji down with her, Naruto explained. "Excuse me, there's something I have to do," Hiyashi said, leaving for the hospital room. Hiruzen then explained that they had a month to train, and with that, everyone left. During the next 2 weeks, Naruto and Gaara trained on talking to and utilizing Shukaku and Kurama's power. "He's just being stubborn," Naruto said, on the first day of the second week. "So we'll just have to teach him a lesson. I'll help you." "Do what?" Gaara asked. "Take Shukaku's chakra," Naruto said, holding out his fist. "It's okay, just fist bump me." Gaara did what Naruto asked, and then they suddenly found themselves in a large sewer-like place with a large cage behind the bars. Was Shukaku. "What are you doing here?" he screamed, slamming his head against the bars of the cage, which shook underneath the force. "Okay, Gaara, open the cage," Naruto said, sitting down cross-legged and performing the snake hand sign. Gaara looked uncertainly at Naruto. Naruto reassured him with a look, and then he put his hands on his stomach and pressed down. The cage slowly unlocked, and as soon as it was open, Shukaku fired a couple wind bullets at Naruto and Gaara. Chains erupted out of the ground around Naruto and Gaara, forming a dome. Then the chains erupted around Shukaku and strained his movements. "Now take his chakra," Naruto said, his eyes closed and his voice slightly strained. Gaara ran forward and grabbed onto Shukaku's tail, his hands digging into the sand. He could feel Shukaku's chakra, but he couldn't pull it out. Gaara felt a hand on his shoulder. As he looked over his shoulder, he started crying. "Mother?" he said uncertainly. This face reminded him of his uncle, and there was only one person who looked like his uncle. His mother. The woman next to him said, "I love you. You can do it." Gaara felt strength flowing through him. He started walking backwards, taking the One-Tail's chakra with him. It came out as a huge mass of yellow chakra. When enough of it had come out, another chain shot out of the ground and cut off the mass of chakra Gaara was holding from the trail leading back to the One-Tail. Gaara then let go of it and pressed his hand to his stomach. The gate swung closed and all the chains disappeared. The massive chakra then formed into a perfect spear and hovered a dozen feet off the ground. Naruto and Gaara then returned to the real world. Okay, try and access the chakra, Naruto said. Gaara closed his eyes, and after a couple of seconds, blue marks spread across his body. Try controlling it, Naruto suggested. Gaara moved his sand around and moved faster than ever. They tested its durability, and after a while, Naruto said, "Let's try creating a jutsu. It should capitalize on your sand's new increased speed." I got it! The last 2 weeks, Naruto practiced by himself. When the day finally came for the final exams, everyone was in the stands. When Rasa showed up, first match the proctor called Ino versus Dosu. Oh, and guys, I had to make Ino win between Ino and Sakura because otherwise the matchups would be kind of uneven. But anyway, back to the story. The fight ended when Ino used mind transfer jutsu to make Dosu choke himself, but Dosu managed to resist somewhat and then blasted her with a sound wave as he passed out. This resulted in a double knockout. Next match, Lee versus Shikamaru, the proctor called. Lee immediately took off his weights, not wanting to give Shikamaru any time to think. That won him the match. Next was Shino versus Kankuro. The fight goes same as in canon, resulting in a double knockout. Last was Naruto versus Temari. Temari walked into the field with a confident smile, knowing that Naruto was a close-range fighter and he didn't have fire style. When the match began, Naruto ran forward while performing hand signs. Temari opened her fan all the way and tried to blast him back, but Naruto finished his hand signs saying, "Fire style, dragon charge." Flashback, Hiruzen's perspective. Someone knocked on the door. "Come in," Hiruzen called. Naruto walked in and asked Lord Third for a strong fire style jutsu. Hiruzen had said, "But fire style isn't one of your chakra natures." "I can still learn if I try hard enough," Naruto replied. Hiruzen had tried to give Naruto a low-ranking fire jutsu, but Naruto had seen through this, pleading for a higher-ranking one. Hiruzen had tried to ignore Naruto, but Naruto had stayed there for 2 hours, constantly pleading. Hiruzen had then given Naruto a scroll on how to do the fire style Dragon Flame Bomb. Hiruzen didn't see Naruto for the rest of the 2 weeks leading up to the finals. On the day before the finals, the scroll was sitting on his desk. End of flashback. Naruto smiled as he sped up and went into a Naruto run position. He had wanted a fire style jutsu for one simple reason. It would work on anyone he faced. If he faced Ino or Dosu, it would speed him up, allowing him to dodge Ino's mind transfer and create enough noise to block out Dosu's sound. If he faced Lee, it would allow him to burn Lee if Lee touched Naruto, and because Lee's entire fighting style was taijutsu, he would have to. It would also allow him to burn his way out of the front lotus. If he faced Shikamaru, it would allow him to slow down Shikamaru's shadow when it got close to him. Kankuro and Shino would burn their bugs and puppets. Lastly, if he faced Temari, he could burn right through her strongest wind attacks. Naruto sped up even further, burning a hole right through her wind wall. Temari was shocked. He didn't have this before. When did he learn this? She thought. She opened up her fan, just in time to block Fire Enhanced Punch. The flames from the dragon bomb had ignited the chakra that Naruto was pouring off his body, creating a fiery aura. Temari jumped back. She bit her finger and summoned her weasel. Naruto was able to dodge its sickle by just centimeters. Naruto then performed hand signs. Snake, dragon, boar, hare, dragon, dog, tiger, bird. Naruto then placed his hands close together, about 10 inches apart. The air between them started compressing. It was really compressed air. It was almost forcing his hands apart. The flames also pulled the fire off his dragon arm into it, setting the ball alight. He pushed his arms out and yelled, "Dragon Breath!" The ball exploded forward in a beam, and Temari quickly stuck her fan to the ground and hid behind it. The beam hit the fan, and it was sent to the sides just for a few seconds before an explosion occurred. When the light and the smoke disappeared, Temari was lying on her back. She was burned in multiple places, and her fan had holes in it from the fire. The winner of this match is Naruto Uzumaki, the proctor called. The medic came and rushed Temari off the field. Spectre's block. Like a dragon, Rasa said with amazement. Seeing this, he was glad he hadn't agreed to help with the Leaf invasion. And speaking of invasions, Hiruzen, Rasa said, without too much emotion, there is something you should know. The stance. Did you know he could use that move, Hinata? Hiyashi asked. Hinata nodded, then hesitated a couple seconds, and said, Did Naruto tell you what my lasting palm strike does? Yes, Hiyashi answered, not liking where this was going. Well, Dragon Breath is 15 times worse, so this next match is going to be almost impossible to win. Especially against Lee, Tenten said. Final match, the proctor called. When the match started, Lee immediately took off his weights and powered up to the third gate. Naruto was getting beached into the ground, but his healing ability was helping somewhat. Why didn't he just give up, Tenten said. He can't win. Hinata was about to say something, but it was Neji that spoke up. If the last match has anything to say about this match is far from over. Flashback. Neji was in the hospital wing when Hiyashi came to see him. Hiyashi had explained the circumstances surrounding his father's death, and Neji had decided to forgive Hiyashi for his father's death. End of flashback. Almost there, Naruto thought, receiving a vicious uppercut. Then Lee started unwrapping his bandages. He successfully wrapped Naruto in bandages and was preparing to use the front lotus. Come on, Naruto, Hinata thought. Just then, Naruto's eyes turned slit-like, and purple lines appeared around his eyes. He broke through the bandages and axe-kicked Lee in the head, sending him crashing to the ground. Spectator's box. Sage mode. Did you teach him this, Jiraiya? Hiruzen asked. No, that's Dragon Sage mode, only taught at Ryuchi Cave. Not Toad Sage mode, Jiraiya answered. Arena. Now it's my turn, Naruto said, charging forward. Lee powered up 4th gate, 5th gate, and finally 6th gate, and performed a morning peacock. A few of these punches just missed Naruto, but a couple of them landed. Then Naruto jumped at Lee, using him like a springboard to get really high into the air. Then 9 wind orbs appeared around Naruto, and using Dragon Flame Bomb, he bathed the orbs in fire. 2 hands then erupted out of the ground and grabbed Lee's legs, restricting his movements. As Naruto was falling, he screamed, 9 Dragon Assault! And all the orbs exploded in a beam, pointing directly at Lee. This was the same move he'd used in Tamari, times 9. There was an explosion that blinded everybody, and when the dust cleared, both boys were lying in different craters, each crater almost 10 feet deep. The proctor was started to say something, but then Naruto and Lee stood up. The stance. How can he still be standing? Sakura said. Sasuke was watching in awe. Who knew Naruto was this strong? He would have to ask Naruto to help him get this strong. He needed this power to defeat Itachi. Arena. Naruto and Lee just stood looking at each other. Lee tried to take a step forward and then collapsed. Naruto remained standing for a few seconds. The winner of this match, and therefore the Chunin exams, is Naruto Uzumaki, the proctor called. The crowd went nuts, screaming and calling Naruto's name. Naruto took it in for a minute and then collapsed. 2 weeks later, Naruto woke up from his coma. While he was passed out, Otagakiri and Iwagakiri tried to attack the Leaf. All of their forces were destroyed by the combined might of Tsunagakiri and Gaara. Gaara utilized his Shikaku marks to take on an entire company of shinobi, knowing their exact locations by having his sand float in the air. Whenever someone moved, they would automatically move the sand, thus alerting them to Gaara's position. This was the move that Gaara and Naruto had worked on. During this time, Hiruzen was badly injured by Orochimaru, but not before he had placed an 8-trigram seal, mixed with a lot of Hiruzen's chakra on Orochimaru, preventing him from switching bodies. What the chakra did was prevent anyone from removing the seal. The Sound Four didn't go after Sasuke because they were taking care of an injured Orochimaru in his own body. Jiraiya was waiting for Naruto to wake up. He, Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke would go to find Tsunade to help heal Hiruzen. But when Hiruzen's condition worsened slightly, they were forced to leave without Naruto. When the nurses left the room, Naruto jumped out of the window and went to his apartment, packed his bags in 5 minutes, and sealed in his storage on his arm. Then Naruto ran to the village gates, racing past the guards, saying that he had to catch up with his teammates. It took him 10 minutes to catch up with them. He went around them, and then was waiting for them at the next bend, sitting at the base of a tree. You really thought you'd leave me behind? Naruto said with a foxy grin. Team 7 and Jiraiya had been looking for Tsunade for a week. They had been going from town to town when Naruto felt something in one of the towns. It feels like a ton of inactive chakra, Naruto tried to explain. That sounds like Tsunade's strength of 100 seal, Jiraiya said without looking at a map. It seems this town is a gambling spot. An area that Tsunade would hang out in, Jiraiya said with a sigh. Don't talk bad about Lady Tsunade. Like you don't have your own quirks, Sakura said, frustrated but somewhat calm. Neither Naruto or Sasuke intervened. Instead, they turned away to hide their laughter. Sakura smiled inwardly. She'd become less annoying and more helpful as of late. Jiraiya had shown her genjutsu that activated by thinking of a certain word that she had chosen as a trigger word. Anyone who didn't know how it would work would find it almost impossible to escape. But if you did know what it was almost completely useless. Naruto had shown her Water Shark Bullet. It was good for defense and pushing enemies away from you if you were trying to get some distance. He had also shown her Remote Body Pathway Derangement. This was where you store chakra in an object like a Senbon, Shuriken, or Kunai, then you stick into your opponent and release the chakra as electricity from a remote location. This scrambles their nervous system, making it almost impossible for them to move. Sasuke had shown her Shuriken Jutsu, which had greatly increased her aim. He had also shown her how to use Genjutsu and make them stronger. When they had finally gotten to the town, Naruto led them to a bar. They had found Tsunade, and then when she had started flaming Hiruzen for being a fool, and that the Hokage's job was stupid. Naruto's vision was starting to turn red with rage. He managed to keep his emotions in check without his face changing. He then started telling Tsunade things about herself and her life that picked her apart, word by word. After about 5 minutes, Tsunade had said she had had enough. She was annoyed with how much Naruto knew about her. She told Naruto to meet her outside, and Naruto allowed himself to smile slightly. Outside, 5 minutes later. Tsunade said she would only need to use one finger to beat him. All the Sannin are overconfident, except for maybe Jiraiya, Naruto thought. Before we start, a bet. If I win, you have to become the 5th Hokage. And, Naruto thought for a few seconds, teach Sakura. She has great chakra control and has a lot of potential as a medical ninja, but she isn't very strong. Team 7 can't have a weak team member. Fine, but if I win, I get all the money in Froggy, Tsunade said, pointing at Naruto's bulging frog wallet. Start, Jiraiya called. Naruto immediately threw 8 kunai at her and teleported behind her using Flying Thunder God. Naruto then hit a couple of her pressure points, bringing her strength down to high human level. Naruto then prepared a small Dragon Breath Jutsu with one hand, blasting her in the stomach. He then walked over and put 4 kunai to her neck. I win, he said. 4 years later. Tsunade had returned to the Hidden Leaf and healed Hiruzen. Hiruzen had then stated that he was too old and stepped aside, making Tsunade the 5th Hokage, but not before proponing Naruto, Shikamaru, and Sasuke to Chunin. Kabuto and Orochimaru were then hunted down and killed by the Konoha 12, Kakashi, Guy, Asuma, Kurenai, and Jiraiya. Naruto and Sasuke went away to train with Jiraiya. Naruto learned Sage Mode from Mount Miyaboku and Shikotsu Forest. His Sage marks then became similar to Hashirama's, being a combination of all of the three-way deadlock Sage Mode. They then started hunting down Akatsuki members. Sasuke unlocked his Mangekyo Sharingan during one of these fights when he thought Naruto had died. After that, they went to Itachi. Naruto took on Kisame while Sasuke fought Itachi, with Jiraiya spectating. Itachi gave Sasuke a scroll saying that they would explain his decisions before dying. When both of them had won their respective fights, Jiraiya had implanted Itachi's Mangekyo in Sasuke. Obito then showed up with pain. Kurama quickly refilled Naruto and Sasuke's chakra reserves, through remote chakra transmission in Sasuke's case. Sasuke had then said, me and Jiraiya will take on the orange-haired people, and that will leave the masked man to you. Sasuke had recognized Obito as the one who had caused the death of Naruto's parents. Naruto and Sasuke had promised each other to help kill the person that had ruined their lives. Naruto had held up his side of the bargain with Itachi. Now it was Sasuke's turn. Jiraiya had managed to defeat 3 of the Paths of Pain in canon, so with Sasuke helping him, he would defeat all of them, finding the location of Nagato. When they returned to see how Naruto's fight was going, they were shocked with what they saw. Naruto had killed Obito, but at the cost of his own life. Before he had died, he had released Kurama. Sasuke, Jiraiya, and Kurama had then found pain, and instead of Naruto talking to Nagato, Sasuke, Jiraiya, and Kurama had. They had explained that Naruto's ideals and dreams had washed off into them. Nagato then used Ren Rebirth to bring Naruto back, and then asked them to destroy his Rinnegan so that no one would use his power to cause pain. Sasuke had burned it with her Amaterasu, and Kurama had explained that he didn't mind having Naruto as a friend and Jinchuriki, and then re-entered the seal. They had then returned back to the Leaf, where Sasuke became close with Sakura, and Naruto likewise with Hinata. Over the years, Team 7 was dubbed as the new Sannin. Sakura, the world's best medical ninja, Sasuke, the lord of unbreakable genjutsu, and Naruto, the dragon sage, with a three-way deadlock.